still warm with a ghost of us. Name in my mouth cuts too much. Half a thought and it folds in two, like a bruise leaves a mark on you. Don't hurt in my shaking hand. Know something I don't understand. Like ghosting at the edge of me. Something there that I just can't see. You hear that too? Or is it just me? Downside out, downside out. I need to go where I don't belong. Downside out, downside out. I need to go where it feels so It's the same sad song, empty space that was here all along. Every step is a borrowed shape, every second a vain escape. Laughter crying out for sin, summer stealing the autumn wind. There's a face that I almost know through a window where I won't go. If you're there, don't let me see. Downside out, downside out. I need to go where I don't belong. Downside out, downside out. I need to go where it feels so wrong. Check. So it wouldn't room. Now it moves in the things I do. In my hands, in the way I speak, in the cracks when I try to sleep. And you sit like you always did. Never answer, just nod your head. If I reach, do you disappear? Goodbye, you are never here. Don't touch the door. Don't touch the door. If it opens, there's so much
Welcome to the show, everybody. It's good to be here. Hope you're having a lovely hump day. Sorry, I should have. Oh, hold on. I got to forward my little thing. There we go. And now we do it. Hi there. Welcome to the show. Hope you're having. I meant to redo that because I wanted it to be. Where's my this? I hope you're having a great hump day. Thank you. That's so much better when that happens on cue. There's always a slight delay. Hit the like, share the show. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may, and I think that I can, let's start off tonight with a little class for once. Now I know what you're thinking. Hal, normally you're a pretty classy dude. I know, and sure, I've got a kind of college goth hair over the eye thing. You know what? I'm just gonna leave it like that. Screw it. Because I'm layering, so it doesn't go back into the ponytail as much as possible. Which brings us to the trolls. I hope you guys get to see this. Let's make this a little lesson for the trolls. Couple of things. I know a bunch of you want to pretend to be American. It's sort of crucial. This is for the foreign trolls. I see you trying, and I know it's hard work. You're earning, whatever, a nickel a week working chained to a desk in some sort of Macedonian hacker farm or something because you're not smart enough to code. So they put you in the little room and make you type away going, I am Joe from America, and you are gay liberal personing. Okay. I understand it's a gig. I'm not trying to kick food out of your mouth, but let me give you a little help. Can I do that? A little troll class? All right. Before we get started tonight, just so you can be up to speed. Nobody outside of your country gives a shit if a guy has long hair, especially if you're trying to push yourself as a Christian nationalist fake account on Shitter, because Jesus had long hair. He didn't have a buzz cut. Simmer down. Like, it doesn't work. I know what you're trying to do. I know you're like, you long haired gay guy. All right. You got to understand, I don't give a shit. Also, maggots over here kind of worship Ted Nugent. And you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't land. I'm trying to help you out here. Like, it's like making fun of my lack of facial hair at times or something. It just doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, nobody gives a damn. The other thing is also just using gay as a pejorative. That just points out that you're from Eastern Europe. I'm sorry, because it just doesn't work here. I mean, I understand, like, Tony Hitchcliffe and some of the maggot adjacent Joe Rogan-y types still think that's a punchline, but it's still, these are the ones who are stuck in like mid-90s stand-up, that if AIDS hadn't occurred, they'd lose 80% of their punchlines, that kind of stuff. But those guys, I mean, you could resonate if that's your thing. But just going for retro, I guess I can't say knock. You do you, boo. But what I'm saying is, if you mean it to be insulting, it's just not gonna land, especially around here and with my chat room, because you have to have shame for that to work. And why we're not the group that thinks gay people should be ashamed of themselves. The odd part is that you tie it, I think, this is where the goal is, that you tie gay to pedophilia automatically. And it's bizarre. And it's such a knee jerk on your part that you seem to look past the fact that Trump is one. So, and I don't mean just a pedophile. He might be gay too, but just because they're not mutually, they can be either mutually exclusive or not. He could be both. And that would explain his hatred for women. Among other things, that and the fact that, any woman who won't sleep with him because he's got money clearly can see how ugly he is, and that bothers him. It's a running thing. But anyways, I'm trying to help you out here. So, racial epithets just make you look like a junk person. Nobody's really insulted by them. Calling someone or asserting that they are gay, is not going to work either, because again, there's no shame on this side of the aisle. That only works. I'm sure it would work in Lindsey Graham or JD Vance's chat room. You know what I mean? Or Bongholio's chat room, where they're very sensitive about their manhood, and they seem to think that that's I don't know. They struggle with it. It boggles my mind, but I'm sure it's a thing. Also, if you call me a C or a D lister or a has-been, those things, I know you think they work, but the problem you have on your side is that you think that anybody in the A list had to. The only way they got there, Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise, whatever, that they had to eat a baby. You guys think that they had to sacrifice a child and worship Satan to become in the A list. So it's kind of a compliment if you call me a B or C lister, because that just means I'm equally as talented as all those people, but I wouldn't eat the baby. So just trying to help you out. Little troll school. We'll just isolate this clip as troll school. I'm just trying to help you out. Now, please enjoy your time in the chat room if you come by my show or you go to others, and just understand that your flaccid, impotent, pathetic rage is very 2016, and it's not. I understand it's not having the impact you wish it did, but I really do hope you find a hobby that becomes a career, because if you enjoy your work, you'll never work a day in your life or some such or whatever. So so obviously, if hate is your game, knock yourself out. You'll just be spinning your tires in the mud. But yeah, there you go. And that goes out to all those folks out there. The more on you know. All right. So now back to the show. Welcome, chat room. Good to have you here. That struck me because we've had, since we've gone vertical, because that's how most hacker farms work, by the way. It's much easier, takes up less space if you put a bunch of phones in a row as opposed to having them vertical as far as clicking on the things and whatever. So they tend to, when they're these watch farms that, give people thumbs down or artificially boost channels like Tucker's, if you watch those, they're all vertical by and large because the money's really in fake TikTok views and the Chinese, pay for that for them. So it's just, they're just churning. So there's very few horizontal. So as soon as I went vertical in a bunch of areas, boom, the faux maggots and stuff started showing up, and it's adorable. It's adorable. Now trolling is welcome to the algorithm. Yes, and it does help us. Yeah. So that's the other reason why I started doing it. I don't really expect a good portion of my audience is going to be watching vertically, but I do know that it spreads it in the algorithm so that it'll bring the horizontal view to other people. It's a trick. I understand. And then I can be a cruel, manipulative bastard. I understand. But to those that don't like it in that world, I would say, how do I sum this up, trolls? Suck it, I guess. Is that work? That's pretty much all you're gonna get. Now, we have a bunch of stuff to cover. And should we jump straight into those shameless plugs?
Time for a shameless plug. Oh yeah.
Out of the gate.
Shameless plug time.
Yes. Sexy Liberal, October 24th, 2026, 8 p.m., Saban Theater. Just deal with it. Oh, the graphic is not. Oh, that's right. Hold on. The graphic should be on the vertical as well. After all that, how are the, whoops, that's not what I want. Get out of here. Boink. I need this. I see. That's what it was. Copy of Elko. Where's there you go. This guy. And then I want to take that one and, nope, that won't work. Just go this. Oh, I'll have to duplicate it as well, I guess. Yeah, I'll have to move this over here and grab this guy. There you go. And duplicate to the vertical canvas. There you go. And then move this back up here. Excellent. And then I'll shrink this guy down to here. And now we've got it and people can see it on the Insta. Like it. Okay, so put that in your book. As they would say in, I think our favorite line in Dances with Wolves. Put that in your book. And this weekend, San Jose, we've got Nerd Halen coming. Come down and see the show. Just try and pretend you enjoy life a little bit. Put all this crazy stuff outside the awful for a little bit and come see us at the Ritz in San Jose this Friday, 8 p.m. $20 if you buy your ticket early, $32 at the door because we're worth it. It's the 2026 Moms Minivan Tour. We're also going to be in Denver, Colorado, July 31st. And then there's a bunch of dates this fall. Don't get me started, or do, I guess. Anyways, so there's the shameless plug. And now let's go to the current, the maggots are chewing themselves to pieces. It's very difficult for them. They're having a rough time of it. I want to grab, there's so many things. Oh, God. Did that one pop out? I'm going to see. Okay. I think so. Let's just start with Fox Business. This is not, when you go to Fox Business thumbnails, I would venture to say that this is not one of the thumbnails they thought they would be making in Trump 2.0. This one right here, the big red lightning bolt down arrow. It's going to go down like a rocket ship. Shock. Inflation surges to its highest since 2023. But Trump doesn't care about inflation. You know how I know? He said so.
Some breaking news, as if you needed us to tell you.
Well, I don't, but maggots do apparently.
That inflation is running at the hottest pace in 3 years.
Well, guess what, Kevin Warsh? Your job just sucked harder. Just you're doomed. Now you've got to actually deal with inflation, and the idea that you're going to drop interest rates is right out the fucking window.
And the Federal Reserve might just have lost any wiggle room it has.
That's what I was going to say, but then thank God I don't need you to tell me.
To keep rates right where they are. Meanwhile, talks in the Middle East are stalling. The president
Stalling. Stalled. Are they stalled if they were never actually moving? If it was always just a jerk off, if it was always a tap along, can you say they were stalled if they were never moving? You know what I mean? Like your car can stall if you flood it or breaks down, right? That stalls. An airplane can stall if it's drag versus lift gets all cattywampus. But can you stall a rock? You know what I mean? Just saying. It's just giving too much faith to the process, saying that it's stalled.
President says his patience wearing thin.
Yes, just like the skin on his neck. Also, there's probably going to be a lot of this today, so I apologize ahead of time, kids. Yeah, oof. But if you want me to warn you ahead of time, all it takes is like and subscribe and support the show and super chats and whatever. I'm holding you none hostage. All right, here we go.
Welcome to the Big Money Show. I'm Dagen McDowell, along with my co-hosts Taylor Riggs, Brian Brimberg, Jackie DeAngelis, and with us for this hour, Rosecliff founder and managing partner.
And the first man to ever get kicked off of Grindr. Did you notice that all these folks, they're all like, yeah, why did I pick the shittiest day to be here?
Mike Murphy. Stock sliding yet again after the consumer price index came in at a pace of 4.2% in May. That's the highest annual reading on the CPI since April of 2023.
Yeah, but the war, as soon as the war's over, it's going to go away. And the war's almost, it was like over in the first 45 minutes and at 9 or 10 times over the last 5 weeks, right? So it's already gone down a bunch of times.
The Federal Reserve will meet next week to decide what to do on short-term interest rates.
Gee,
And a hike, well, it's in the cards, certainly.
Never use the Devin Nunes smile. He totally had that. You're absolutely right, Jaru.
Sometime this year. At the same time, it's not getting any smoother in the Middle East. The U.S.
I'm sorry, was there even the illusion of smooth? The chocolate and the smooth, all in one treat.
Oh, hello there!
All right.
U.S. launching retaliatory strikes on Iran after an American Apache helicopter was downed over the Strait of Hormuz.
Downed? You mean it was shot down? You trying to make it seem like it got depressed and took its own life?
The president telling Fox News today, Trey Yingst, that he is close to renewing offensive strikes on the Iranian regime. For investors, the pressure
And he's also close to not.
is coming from all sides. Inflation, interest rates, conflict in the Middle East, and Mike Murphy.
Thanks, Joe Biden. Or, sorry, I forgot what year it was.
I would say the biggest concern is valuations about tech stocks and whether the spending by the
It's justified.
mega cap tech.
All right, and how much does it cost to make?
The Illudium Q36 explosive space modulator.
About $1 trillion.
Companies on AI infrastructure, whether that can keep up. I would argue among all of these concerns, that's the biggest.
I'd say a lot of concerns out there for sure. We're going to see Anthropic's numbers very soon. And
They just dropped a new model like last night, which is going to affect the numbers anyways. And the IPOs, the company's valuation is like $980 billion. $950 billion. The company's like 3 years old.
And when we do, I think we're going to have a much better idea of what spending looks like. And all.
You think? Yeah? You want to go get me a fucking cup of coffee and a chocolate donut with some sprinkles on it while you're thinking.
So what margin looks like, what they're spending to generate the revenue they're generating, and if that growth is still there. But I think regardless, so the Anthropic numbers has direct impact on OpenAI and then a lot of the AI spend. But you're also, I would look more to NVIDIA and Jensen Huang and what he continues to say. Spending is still strong for AI.
That's because he's in the hardware business. Whoops, excuse you. That's because he's in the hardware business, dum-dum. They need his shit. All of them, to succeed, need NVIDIA chips and AMD chips and maybe some Amazon Trainium chips. So those guys are going to be fine because they're part of the necessary, like the building expansion, the large facilities, all that. Those things only fill up with servers that work for AI or data of any sort if the chips exist to fill those spaces. So the NVIDIA and all these guys are sold out for years in advance, and nobody's going to not keep building in the interim. They're fine. It's the software-based shit that's anybody's guess, and that's who's spending the most, especially fucking Facebook and Meta.
It may slow down at some point, but there's no signs of that yet, that it's slowing down or that it's going to slow down. So you get this number coming in that I think wasn't that surprising, the CPI number, not having a major impact on rates. Market went up for 9 straight weeks. We have a little bit of a pullback in the market. Meanwhile, we're renewing attacks in Iran. As we talked about, the president's going to do what he has to do to ensure an American victory.
Sorry, I that sentence just makes me laugh. He's going to do what he has to do to assure American victory? What do you mean? Like, taco again?
Raise your taco, take a bite. Trump always chickens out, so it's gonna be alright. Raise your taco,
Pitiful.
take a bite. Trump always.
I think a lot of noise going on globally.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's noise. You know, people needing to eat and live.
Look back here domestically in the United States, earnings are going to continue to be strong. The AI story, I still go with its first inning. There's still a lot more to it. You have the IPOs coming out, you have liquidity coming, and you have more profitability coming to all companies that are going to be using it. So minor pullback.
Yeah, but that's going to be productivity shifts away from other people. So, again, I don't think the firings in the United States are going to be as bad as people say, but they are worldwide, and that's going to affect a lot of shit, especially goods bought and sold in the rest of the world. If that consumer base goes away, what the fuck do you think that does? America could be a gated community in this circumstance. It's still not going to be protected from that drop.
Pullback in an overall screaming market.
Taylor, the reason I pointed to, and I'll try to shut up as much as possible.
Yes, it doesn't surprise me that none of the Fox business people want to talk when the numbers are this shitty.
The reason I pointed to the tech stock sell-off, and it's starting last week, as what's really going on in the market is because this was anticipated, this print on CPI. It came in, the overall CPI, because of energy, came in.
Ooh, this next segment, the rise of AI. What's that? Do tell.
Right on target. And if we take a look at the 10-year yield, that rates have been
The 10-year? You mean the 10-year?
very contained.
Yeah, she just flipped her hair. Like, fuck this. Okay, I'm done.
Longer-term interest rates here ticking up just a little bit. So wherein lies the real worry? And I would say it's about the valuations on tech stocks, but how do you see it?
Yeah, so a couple
She does not want to talk about any of this shit.
things on that. I think the Friday sell-off kind of spooked people. Monday we had a good rebound, and then yesterday we saw the massive deterioration during our when we were on air that went negative, and then sort of that continued today. And so I think people are trying to figure out, again, to Mike Murphy's point, is this a healthy pullback, a reset, raising money to gear up for all the new IPOs where I want to put money to work, or is this the beginning of something deeper where we're starting to pull back and really start to question valuations and put some numbers to the test?
Okay. By the way, I'll just answer that for her. It's the IPOs. There's going to be like SpaceX OpenAI and Anthropic are going public all about the same time this year, and people want to be sitting on cash when it happens. So they're selling a bunch of their other AI stocks and kind of putting as many of their eggs in the jump basket because that's where the biggest growth is going to come from. So they're peeling off a third of what they have, and they're expecting to buy in early on these IPOs so that it blows up, or directly investing it. At that size, what they're doing is they're taking money out of the stock market and literally handing it to these companies before the stock actually goes for up for sale. It's just so fucking normal, right? It's like. And the other thing is that none of them know. All right. Speaking of none of them know, I'm just enjoying the panic from Trump Town. Where are we? There we go. This is where are we? Here I'll show you another slice of stupid around this idea. And you guys know this is going to drive me fucking crazy. The title of this video, I mean. Obviously, was that Ethereum and Bitcoin together, which aren't real coins for the who's at home. The Bitcoin burrito, Bitcoin versus AI. Where should I invest? And this is his money dude who's on the show, and they're talking back and forth.
Bitcoin hitting 250, and Jason from All In saying,
sorry, all the way down to $250.
Take all your money away from crypto and put it into AI. If you're in crypto,
get out. And that's not true. You understand, PBD, you have to understand, you can't just say that on your show. Get out of Bitcoin if you're a normal person, is what you should say. If you're a regular viewer of PBD, of Peanut Butter Dickheads podcast, you might be one of the people who benefits from Bitcoin specifically, or crypto. Child sex traffickers, gun runners, drug smugglers, cartels, they need it. It works for them. It helps them cross borders and move and shuffle shit around. Don't tell those people, and that's a big chunk of your audience.
Pivot to AI.
But look when he tweeted it.
Yeah, 2023.
2023.
Which, by the way, that's a pretty good pivot.
He nailed it.
Yeah.
Look, people gave Jason Calacanis a hard time. People should have listened. Maybe I should have listened to him.
Help me.
No, look, I've always believed that when I buy things, I try really hard never to sell them. And so there's nothing you're going to do to convince me to sell my Bitcoin. But I did. Maybe I'm a good example. We built Sylvia, right? We started to use the new technology. Sure. I've always been.
Sylvia, I guess, is his agentic AI. Yeah.
Industry agnostic, interested in technology, right? Bitcoin was one technology. We've got AI, et cetera. But I do.
No, we don't. AI is a platform of technology. Crypto is an element of a technology.
Are you more pro?
Blockchain would be the technology. Crypto is an adjunct.
Oh, look, are you more optimistic with Bitcoin today or AI?
I think that they actually reinforce each other. And
you're an idiot.
And if you think about what does AI do? AI is, from an offensive perspective, is going to help companies go make money. It's going to be abundance, right? It's going to create a lot of stuff. Bitcoin is all about scarcity. So in a world of abundance, scarcity becomes more valuable.
What the fuck? This asshole thinks like Bitcoin's the new gold? Holy shit. These people are fucked. Can I show you guys something real quick? Remember, it's a little early for Friday Eye. It's a little early. I understand. But I need to show you guys something. You know, the whole like, dear God, that we need these giant data centers because we got to train these things, and AI, the future of AI is in these giant fucking Manhattan size facilities. Okay. Can I show you something from the? Yeah, here you go. Open link in a new tab. This is from the Mac Worldwide Developers Conference 2026. This just happened. Okay. Now, I want you guys to think about what you've heard about AI as far as where it will be used. You're going to have to use it in the cloud, and these giant server farms are the only things that can work on these giant things and to do the kind of stuff that people expect, especially this agent AI that can do all this. You need to like have an API key from one of these big AI companies. Nope. Apple is about to skullfuck all of those companies. And you want to talk about something that will eat into the API or the IPO. There's all these three letters. The IPO of the big tech company, the big AI companies that are coming out this fall. It's that Apple's going to go like, actually, you can just run local shit. And if you stack them, they're as smart as any of the one big frontier models. You probably don't even need that. So I want to show you this real quick. It's going to get it's going to get boring real quick for a split second, but.
Hi, I'm Angelos, an engineer on the MLX
Hello.
team. Today, I'm going to show you how to build and run agentic AI workflows entirely on your Mac using MLX.
Entirely on your Mac.
No cloud, no API keys, just your hardware doing the work.
You hear that? Now think of what you hear about just a regular laptop, battery life, what power a laptop takes. And then tell me why, if you could set up an agentic AI that can do a lot of work for you using fully local models, which you absolutely can, and they're getting better all the time, why the ever-loving shit does anyone think in a year and a half, the average consumer user of AI, or prosumer user certainly, which makes up the vast majority of the subscription support for these services, is going to use the big models? Right? Why the fuck would you? If you could have an AI that's as good as any of the frontier models right now, by this time next year, whatever the best model that's out right now, even like 4.6 or 5.0 on, I guess 5.2 is really good with OpenAI's version, or one of the Claude ones like 4.6 or whatever. They just released Fable and another upgrade. Those will be available locally and be able to be run on edge software and hardware like a regular Mac Pro. That the super smart models, everybody's like, holy shit, I could run my whole company with these things that exist right now, will be all but free in about a year. Why the fuck would you need a giant server farm sucking up all the water and coal and natural gas in an area if the average person can eventually download one of these things onto their laptop and just use it like they would use fucking Photoshop? Yes, that's right. Aaron Duran, the Rob Glenn 99% rule. It's good enough for 99% of people right now. Let the fucking Pentagon and big companies pay for these giant server farm versions of things. But like, honest to God, I have a couple of local models. Rob Glenn has built his own, and he and I put ours together over the last year. If I started today, I could probably do it in an hour with this new version of things, with MLS or MLX rather, the new software from Apple that they just built into their hardware. So any M4 Plus chip that you could get, which again is like a $1,600 laptop, compared to what a $3,000 computer could do in the 90s. Thank you, Patui, for pretending to understand this. Here's the thing. Imagine how does Coca-Cola make money if everybody had Coca-Cola on tap? Right? How does that make sense? Imagine you're Coca-Cola and you're like, we're going to build bigger and bigger plants. We need more water for our soda. We need more, cocaine for Diet Coke. We've got to, we're buying up all these resources. We're hiring people, and if you want it from us, it's got a logo on the side of it and it says Coca-Cola, and you can buy it in a store and whatever. Okay. Or like if milk just came out of a magic faucet that you could install and it just made milk forever. Why would you buy milk at the store? Why would we need dairy cows anymore? Right? Do you understand? That's where we are. That's why this is software based, and that's why there's no future in the software aspect of it, because they're putting themselves out of business. Now, if you make hardware, this is good for you. If you're Apple or you're NVIDIA or you're AMD, or even with the training chips that Amazon is doing, or you're making robots and stuff, this benefits you. But the AI companies who want to be relied on for these giant models are in the process of putting themselves out of business. Are you with me? All right. So the idea that these dickheads are like, AI is like Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is like AI, and they're basically the same. Fuck, these guys are dumb. It's so painful to watch. And like, so I appreciate you, Patui, and I hope I simplified it in a way that you can grasp it. But there has never been a technology that makes more of that same technology from itself. It's like a self-producing. It's like, it is literally the technological equivalent of, why would I buy eggs from the store if I can just have a chicken that lays eggs and I don't have to feed it? Like, it takes about as much power as a hair dryer, and I can leave it plugged in all the time. Somebody's like, for the service agreement? There is no service agreement with the big AI companies. It's like, they've got a sucks to be you. Yeah, right. When we need the eggs. My uncle thinks he's a chicken. Why don't you put him in a home? So we need the eggs, right? Charting at the hospital now makes me use AI. I have written my notes for 34 years. Now I have to AI generate what I have written and then correct that. It'll get better, is my guess, Nina. Yes. Yeah, that's a great example. This is these guys finally have earned a 5 eggs award. Where are we? Yeah, here we go.
Eat 2 eggs a day. 5 eggs. 5 eggs.
That's right. They get 5 eggs. These folks. Make sure that your notes look infantile. All right, well, that's okay. It's like having a friend. So it would be great if you had a nerd walking around with you going, I'll fill in the blanks. Right? That's what it'd be good for eventually. Aren't they adorable? Yeah. By the way, like, crypto is for murderers and perverts. Just saying. Good luck. AI, by the way, is just another UI. It's a user interface for your computer. Now you can talk to it, and now you don't have to program it. You can explain in natural language what you're trying to accomplish, instead of having to go ones and zeros or throwing fucking switches like you had to do in the fucking 30s and 40s, and or write JSON or fucking C++ or whatever you're using. Okay, all right. So these guys are painfully stupid. Now, speaking of painfully stupid, where are we? Yeah, then we did her. We're going to click this out of the way. I can't keep a bunch of windows open because I do. Yeah, here we go. All right. So you guys know how, with my favorite current Jeffrey Epstein conspiracy theory, if I may, is my favorite Jeffrey Epstein conspiracy is that he's alive. That they didn't fake his death. He or they didn't murder him or hide the fact that he was murdered by making it look like suicide. The Russians, he paid them like $1 billion and they managed to help him get the fuck out of there. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. And again, I have very little commitment to these conspiracy theories. I view them as sort of mental exercises. If that makes sense. Just kind of like, all right, what if, they're great conversation if you're sitting around kind of, talking with friends, but it's not like I'm going to, be overwhelmed by it. Now, where is this? Is this the Trump? Yeah. So Trump had this thing where he there was this big crash out in the White House. There's an article in New York Times. We covered it this morning. There's an article in New York Times that's coming from Maggie Haberman's book, Regime Change, that talks about Trump's flip out over, or the cabinet's flip out over the Epstein stuff that was breaking, and how Bongholio and Patel and Bondi were at each other's throats, and Susie Wiles was trying to keep them all together, and blah, blah, blah. Point being is that story broke, and all of a sudden we're back to bombing Iran. That stand out to anybody at all? The timing, that the backstory about this is starting to break. I want to see if this is the one, because Bill Gates was testifying today, and then they brought in one of his assistants who said, I never knew some of the girls were underage, which is just like, maybe that would be part of your fucking job if you're arranging. Maybe check. But also, nobody believes that shit for a fucking second. Okay. But the idea that this broke, that she came in, Bill Gates came in, they have that New York Times story broke. And then all of a sudden we're like, bombing all of Iran is back on the table was the video we looked at part of this morning. That everything's back on the table. All right. So you can see why this belief system, I don't have to close these windows because if I leave them open, they will suck up power and then I start getting garbly audio. So this obviously there's a reason why this one stuck out to me, this video. And we're going to dive in because the trolls are going to love this. Now, the maggots are here, and I appreciate them being here. Like I said, hit the like, share the show. If you're a maggot, please give a thumbs down. The algorithm does not give a shit if you like me or not. It just knows that you are engaged and that I am incredibly adorable. So that's all it gets out of you going, you're a gay person. Like, whatever nice ponytail. Smoke some crack more. I don't know what the hell. Like Hunter. I don't know. This is the best I can. You know what the funny thing is? I'm trying to be silly about it, but it actually sounds like direct quotes. Whatever. Anyways, proof he's alive. Well, who would that be? What evidence could prove that Epstein is alive? It's alive. So maggots. There are a lot of details about the whole Epstein thing that I don't remember. I mean, we have to deal with this stuff all the time. There's so much of it. How am I supposed to remember all of the details all the time? Now, I know some of the people in our chat room are going, but Hal, you do. I know. But I might need some help from time to time from your average run-of-the-mill maggot. And so if anybody's a big Trump supporter in the audience, please tell me why Trump kicked Epstein out, and then tell me where you were when you found out that he never kicked him out. Also, tell me how long they were friends, and right next to that, tell me how long it would have taken you to figure out Epstein was a pedophile. The other thing is why was Trump so close with Roy Cohn and Jeffrey Epstein? Feel free to write a paragraph. Now, and also the other detail is, and I can't remember this, is that Epstein was arrested and his home's raided, and a lot of the evidence disappeared during those raids. And I can't remember who was president when he was arrested, jailed, died before he could go to trial. Wink, wink. And a bunch of the evidence disappeared. And Zorro Ranch was never raided. Because the federal government under Bill Barr, I'm sorry, who hired Bill Barr? Yeah, anyways, who was president when all that stuff went down? Now, I know that Biden was president when the Ghislaine Maxwell trial happened and the survivors were in the process of suing the estate. And so there were judges all over the country putting holds on the evidence. And so the evidence was all but frozen until January of 2024. Basically the year of the election, and Trump had been running for a year and a half, and his lawyers were trying to put holds on more of that evidence, and so were some of his rich buddies. But for the first 3 years of Biden, those things, you weren't even allowed to release them. Ultimately, here's a clue: why didn't Biden release all that stuff? Because it wouldn't be legal to do so. That's why we needed a law. That's why you needed the Epstein Transparency Act. Now, Republicans wouldn't have signed on to that while Biden was president. But all of a sudden, once Trump got in and started lying that he was going to release the stuff, 4 Republicans pop over and sign the discharge petition so that all of them can hide behind it. All right. Now, you guys, I still don't remember, who was president when Epstein went to jail and escaped. But let's find out.
We were told they were going to release those files.
If everyone,
I didn't realize this was a comedy.
Thinks you're dead, what do you care if you use the same email? YouTuber named Rusty Shackelford flew a drone over Little St. James, and there's someone in one of the side-by-sides who leans forward and looks up at the drone, and that person looked like an older gentleman with gray hair. No one's gonna think you're alive. And even if I came forward and I said, he's alive and he's on that island, people would laugh at me. No way, man, no way. We started the reward pool and put in 40,000 of our own money. Build a reward pool big enough, it becomes expensive to stay silent. There are some post-life signals that are interesting.
Post-life signals.
You brought up the Fortnite one. I am not convinced that the official...
Oh, the Fortnite, in case you don't know, there's this idea that Jeffrey Epstein had a Fortnite account, and it was live after he died, and it was live in Israel. Now, Israel has a habit, this is true, of allowing Jews that are accused of crimes in other countries to come and stay in Israel and avoid extradition because of the history of places like Germany in the past, you know, scooping up Jews and trumping up charges, no pun intended, against them. And so there are a bunch of Jewish pedophiles who fled to Israel and lived there safely because they used the wall of protection Israel had to set up for those that would be, you know, that are innocent and that are falsely accused. They take advantage of that and go there. So the idea is that he, you know, flew back to Israel and yeah.
The official Fortnite position is anything but part of the cover-up. I could be wrong. I'm not going to hold on to that one too tight. Maybe. He had another gaming account that went live called War Thunder under the email that he had. I don't know anything about War Thunder, but the email he had, jeevacation@gmail.com, I believe it is. There's receipts and things like that. There's activity on that email afterwards. That's very interesting. If everyone thinks you're dead, what do you care if you use the same email? Your files aren't coming out. No one has access to your Gmail. So those are intriguing. And then the most intriguing for me is there's a YouTuber named...
Also, by the way, there's a couple of areas where modern spying happens on a low-res level. One of them is in gaming chats because everything's encrypted audio-wise to protect kids who are talking to each other so that adults can't listen in on kids playing games. So there's a lot of protections in there naturally. And it's hard to get a warrant for fucking Fortnite because a lot of judges are like, they what now? Unless it's, you know, and the only people looking into it are probably the NSA and the CIA and other groups like that. The other places, of course, sketchy sex sites. So one of the reasons I don't doubt, don't get me wrong, I don't doubt that Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes both enjoy some transgender pornography. Whatever, dude, you do you. I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. However, the Russians have traditionally used, and so have the Chinese, the CCP specifically, have used these sites as ways to communicate with people, especially not agents or actual spies, but sort of like people that are their media voice in a country, like the Tenet media crowd and stuff. They talk to them via the conversation in those skeevy websites because the chance that a journalist stumbles across it in, you know, ladieswithwieners.com is fairly slim. Whereas, you know, scrolling through Telegram accounts and looking for like keg breaths, you know, macho America titles isn't that far of a reach. But the way they send messages to Alex Jones and to others like that, one of the conduits that you can use is through sketchy sex sites, because if somebody goes, I saw somebody that looked like Alex Jones on this, you know, borderline, barely legal trans site, right? And they'll go, really? What were you doing there? It's an instant cover.
Named Rusty Shackelford.
Which has got to be his grinder name. Rusty Shackelford.
And he...
Rusty Trombone. Nice to meet you.
Flew a drone over Little St. James. And he got like 2 hours of footage. 4K, it looks like. Great resolution.
Yeah, this is some people have seen this still image of a guy who looks like Jeffrey Epstein looking up because he was there packing.
And as he flies around, he brings the drone over roughly the middle of the island-ish. And there's some side-by-sides sitting there. And the drone is positioned above these side-by-sides. And there's someone in one of the side-by-sides in the driver's seat.
Golf carts.
Who leans forward and looks up at the drone and then goes back in that side-by-side. And that person looked like an older gentleman with gray hair that met my threshold of this should be looked at. This is post-death. And let me tell you something about that island because I've been to it. If you wanted to hide somewhere, these intelligence people will hide in plain sight. It wouldn't be a bad option, especially if you have to clean up some loose ends with your computers or technical infrastructure.
Mm-hmm. Whose stream is this? This is Sean Ryan's show. Sean Ryan is one of the guys who's been softly, he'd been drifting away from Trump for a while, and then the Epstein stuff was his sever point. Yeah.
No one's going to think you're alive. And even if I came forward and I said, he's alive and he's on that island, people would laugh at me. No way, man. No way.
That's why it's easy for me to say, because I want people to laugh at me. It's my job. But he's totally on, like, and he's not there anymore, obviously. He's become a Cyprian citizen under a fake name, probably cost, what, $100 million? And now he lives on some island in off of Indonesia on a yacht paid for him by somebody from, an LLC called Keep Quiet.
So it's not an unsafe place, particularly because you can stay there with extreme privacy. And the only way that you wouldn't have privacy is if someone has an aerial shot of you, which seems really unlikely, but this guy did. He flew this drone over, and you can watch this footage on Rumble. It's been taken down all over the internet, but it's still up on Rumble as of today. Who knows if it'll still be up.
Yeah, we looked at a story a while back about people who were flying a drone over Epstein's Island and got chased down. Remember that? And they took one of the guys, like hostage, basically. And that guy sued and won.
But I'm sure people have preserved it. You can look and make your own decision.
I think that was before Epstein allegedly died, too.
This is post-death and pre-AI, which meets our criteria. If it's after he died and before the introduction of large language models, which can edit images. All right, we'll put that in. So you take all of these now in totality, from the passport.
I got to say, Sean Ryan's been really quiet during all of this.
To the conditions in the jail cell, the trust, the escape plan, the condition.
Also, by the way, what escape plan, Hal? Well, our one of the guys that does that we've had on the show who does body language stuff went through the where is it? Let's see, this would be body double. Here's this one. Yeah, here it is. The escape plan. So written on yellow legal pads in his cell were found these kind of like his notes on how to get the fuck out of Dodge.
If he died in that cell, it doesn't explain his escape plan.
There's an escape plan?
This is the smoking gun for me. This is the single piece of evidence that gives me the confidence. He had foreknowledge of the day that he's getting out. This second from the top line says jail out equals 10. Someone who's going to kill themselves doesn't write this down.
Why would he have written this all down?
You seen this?
No.
By the way, I have seen this, and it's fun to watch other people who haven't. By the way, if you're in the chat room, let me know if you've seen this. Did you watch my show where we covered those notes that came up? This was a while back. This was months ago.
There's an escape plan?
Yeah. So you're a
Get
SEAL.
the fuck out of here.
You tell me if this is an evasion plan. My partner, Alex, smart guy, and he looked at this. I called it an escape plan, and he rightly corrected me. He said, no, man, this is an evasion plan. So I'm going to give you context for this document that you're holding. This is the smoking gun for me. This is the single piece of evidence that gives me the confidence to have this conversation with you right now. You're looking at two notes. There's 2 pages here of legal paper that were found in his cell after his alleged death. Most people are not talking about
So nice to have one person who's not to be the only person who's saying alleged death.
this at all. Very little conversation is happening about these documents, and it is astonishing to me. This is an escape plan. So keep in mind what just happened. He just restructured his estate and has set himself up to have access after he leaves. And then 2 days later, he allegedly dies, and this is recovered from his cell. So what you're looking at, some of it's illegible. And so I'm not going to speculate about the things that I can't read because his handwriting was atrocious. It was super inconsiderate of him to have terrible handwriting and make me have to figure this out later on.
We're having such fun. By the way, Dr. G is the guy I'm talking about, who, if you'll recall, we covered a little bit of this a while back. I think he did this. When did he do this video? 4 months ago. And so he goes through all these notes, the airport, his escape plan, what he was going to. So he breaks down. I'll share the link to this video in the chat room so you can watch it. And this is what they're kind of referencing. Let me put that in there right now. You guys can watch it later, obviously. There you go. I just popped that up in the chat. It should show up on your site wherever you are. But yeah, this is it. This is what he's looking at. And Epstein had these yellow legal pads. He liked to write and work on these things. So yeah. And the idea was, I guess they were supposed to clean up his cell after him, and they just didn't because they didn't give a shit. Because it worked so well, I guess.
But I'm going to draw attention to some of the things here that really stand out. And the first is, do you see in the middle top of the page where red notice is underlined multiple times?
Mm-hmm.
A red notice is an Interpol notice that goes out to worldwide policing agencies for a fugitive.
Right, which they don't put on you if you're dead.
So why is a guy about to kill himself concerned about red notices?
Because he's about to fake kill himself. Oh, sorry. That's one noise to make. The other is...
This is again on legal paper, so I don't know.
That does not make it legal, though. I've tried that. It does not work in court.
This for sure. But this was potentially furnished to him by his lawyers who carry legal paper. And not the note as it exists now, but that's where he got the paper. Okay. So were these conversations happening with the people that were there providing legal counsel to him? I don't know. But it seems to be, based on the time frame, they're pretty close to each other for when these would have been written. The next thing that really jumps out at the top right, next to that $, it says what I believe to be blackmail.
All right. This is really terrible production, guys. Look at all those fucking props and guns and all that kind of shit. And Dr. G in his fucking cubbyhole office does a much better breakdown. And again, I just shared it. Let me show you this right here.
Today are documents from the Epstein files that raise the question whether or not Jeffrey Epstein could still be alive. Yes, I am as shocked as you are that I am analyzing this and that this is the subject of this video, but I'm going to give you some very compelling reasons why I felt this was necessary.
We need to bring Dr. G, and Andrea, we have to see if we can get Dr. G back on the show to go over this, since it's he did this video well before anybody else. And so I just think it would do us well to have him on, like, kind of revisit this, okay?
Ever since I started it.
And if the link didn't show up in your thing, it's because you're on one of the other sites and it just doesn't go out that way. But I'm going to have Andrea and CSL put it in the other chat, so it'll eventually get to you. There you go. But this is the Dr. G video, and these are the notes. This is what they actually look like. He does a much better job in his little office with his headphones and his microphone, like a real podcaster. Meanwhile, Mr. $1 Million over here with all of his like show liquor and guns. Great mix, by the way. They're like, what do you see? What do you see? I can't see. I can barely read. It might be because of the fucking mood lighting. All right.
See the $sign there in the top right?
Yeah.
Next to it, that word looks like blackmail to me.
Yep.
So what's happening? If he gets out, he's thinking about where to get money. If he's gotten blackmail on people, that's pretty easy to be like, hey man, you need to just wire me 10 grand, 100 grand, $1 million, whatever leverage he has to get access to money. Because you got to figure out how to live while you're out. And maybe he doesn't know what he has access to.
He might be singularly responsible for the Bitcoin pump and dump. Now, they go through these notes. I'll tell you what, let's have Dr. G on at another time. I'm going to bum rush these things so we can get through them because they chop this up into like 4 videos. But this is where this guy's whole thing goes. There's this picture of Jeffrey Epstein, very possibly on the island, taken by a guy after he died and before AI from an aerial drone, and this escape plan thing that Dr. G, talked about 4 months ago, and I talked about as well. And he does a whole breakdown of it, and goes through the words and stuff. It's the best. Dr. G's takedown of it is the best there is. If you want to know anything about this, now we could sit here and watch both of these guys do shitty podcasting stuff and be stupid about it, but I don't care. Okay, but so here's the other one. Evidence may prove Jeffrey Epstein didn't die in his cell. Body double?
What we do know is that he had a body double. We know that for sure. There's a memo showing that they pulled this scheme to trick the media, and it wasn't his body on the table. So who was on that gurney? Unless something really crazy happened to his face after he died. That's not his face.
Yeah, that is completely different.
It's a different guy. So what happened? I think you're going to find this really interesting, Sean. So,
okay, I'm really fucking annoyed at Sean Ryan right now. You got your fucking sweet graphics and your big dipshit living room set and your leather goddamn chairs, and we get to watch you guys looking at printouts. This is dumber than Trump holding up pictures of the reflecting pool being taller than the Empire State Building, because at least we get to look at that and laugh.
The first one is this one labeled page 6 at the top. Here.
Oh, so much better. You know what? That's awesome.
This is a page from the medical examiner's autopsy of Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh yeah, either he had a prostate or didn't have a prostate. It was the idea that the corpse had a prostate and Jeffrey Epstein didn't.
And the top line, the first full sentence, says the prostate is slightly and diffusely enlarged with...
Right, there you go. Yeah, so Jeffrey Epstein had his prostate removed. And so the corpse had a prostate.
Mark enlargement of the verumontanum. I don't know what that is. So this is her observation. Medical examiner, official autopsy for Jeffrey Epstein, that he does have a prostate. This next line, this is just kind of an aside. It's not relevant to the evidence here. It's just really embarrassing. It says the testes are unremarkable. I don't know that I'd want that in my autopsy. So she may...
That's not about their size, girth, function. It's that they haven't been shredded or haven't exploded.
Makes this position that there is a prostate. This next document is a deposition. And he's asked the question. He's asked a series of hypothetical questions. You can have high testosterone and still have a need for a Viagra because you don't have a prostate, right? And he says, correct. Seemingly indicating on face value that he doesn't have a prostate. Now, there's controversy over this because people make the argument that the you in that sentence is the royal you, meaning sort of a general question about someone's medical condition. Okay, fair enough. But the next document...
Also, yeah, that's weird. And I pointed that out before. But the odd part is, of course, why would you ask him generic medical questions?
Is a LabCorp record. And he has a series of LabCorp records and other medical records, as well as intake forms that begin as early as I could find as 2012, maybe, where he's having problems with his prostate, his testes. There's some kind of urological problem that he's having. And so he's visiting a urologist. And at the bottom of this, in highlighted, it says, serum PSA should decrease and remain at undetectable levels after radical prostatectomy, which is the removal of the prostate. So in his deposition, he remarks that it'd be correct. This is what to expect if you don't have a prostate. In his LabCorp record.
Okay, so this has been around for a bit, that the corpse had a prostate and Jeffrey Epstein didn't. Big part of this. The other thing that they talk about, one body went out the front door and the real body went out the back door to avoid the press. And the one that went out the front door, we made out of cardboard boxes or some nonsense. It's all fucking crazy. Like, the more you dig into it, it's just stupid. But, and the verumontanum is just the ridge inside the urethra where the prostate is. Like, it's a little, kind of like the hyoid bone of the urethra through the prostate. Anyways, it has a lot to do with why it's hard to pee later on. Where it comes and goes and stutters and all that kind of shit. And if you've had a prostatectomy, you wouldn't necessarily have one, is the idea, or that it wouldn't be intact.
It seems to be
my mom worked for a urologist for 12 years. Most of my childhood, actually. I lived in Kentucky till I was 14, and a good portion of those years, I think the last 8 years I was there. She worked for a urologist and continued to work there afterwards until I was almost halfway through high school. You guys will remember I famously got sent to the principal's office for explaining what a vasectomy was to my 3rd grade teacher, Mrs. Mers.
A document indicating either pre-surgery or follow-on, or at least some kind of analysis for what the condition of his prostate would be like, or his PSA in your analysis would be if he didn't have a prostate. But the official finding in the autopsy is that he had a prostate.
Right. So again, the official finding is that he did have a prostate when he didn't. And believe me, they checked.
Moon River.
Whew. Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time?
You using the whole fist, Doc?
That's right.
Whew. Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time?
All right. Now, the last little piece of this, so they go through this, and I don't know why it takes them so much, is that the reason, why is he alive? Well, a dead man switch. A dead man switch is, if anything happens to me, there's a scene in episode 7 of True Detective, the first season, where where Matt McConaughey's character Rustin Cole and Woody Harrelson's character Marty have threatened this cop that was part of a cover-up, and he goes, if anybody, I've got a friend who's a sniper, and I've already paid, the deal is paid, the bounty's paid. If he or I see cuffs or coffins, all this stuff's going to come out, and we're going to kill you and smear your name. So that's a dead man switch. If something happens to either one of us, all this shit comes out, right? Every blackmailer has to have a dead man switch. Everyone has to. Otherwise, they would just fucking kill you, especially at that level. So not only is there a reason there's actually more of a reason why people would want to make sure he doesn't die in jail than to, yes, Rustin Cole, that's his name. They go by Russ, but yeah, that's his name. They go by, most of the rich people that he had shit on would want him to be alive, because the dead man switch works for everybody. Like, all the shit comes out, because it's not like they'll check and go, well, that's the guy that killed me, so release the shit that happened, especially if a bunch of them decide to get together, like Clue, which is, interestingly enough, that's the plot of Clue, is that they're all being blackmailed and they all, never mind. Anyways, so dead man switch.
Why would anybody want him alive? Why would anybody want him dead? bring risk.
If you're making the claim that Epstein left that cell alive and you pull on that thread, it implicates larger power structures in our government and a deep level of corruption.
A blackmail operation.
And what better insurance policy than retention of all of this evidence as your dead man switch? The only remaining option is to publicly have a dead defendant and privately make sure there's no loose ends. And
what do you think it is?
The Epstein files reveal a child sex trafficking operation that was used as leverage over our politicians by a larger power structure that continues to have a stranglehold on our institutions. And so
a blackmail operation.
A blackmail operation. Effective.
He means Mossad, by the way. I'm just going to cut to the chase. I'm sure he means the Israelis. Even though, like, obviously the Russians are intertwined with the Israelis, especially as Russian Jews went to Israel, and the Middle East became a great way to bait the United States into wasting a lot of money and, you know, blood and treasure. The Russians had a big play in this. So this sort of this bank shot. Like, I have no doubt that there are people in the Israeli government and the Likud party and those assholes who want to control what the U.S. does and protect Israel and blah, blah, blah. But there's also a significant chunk of these assholes that are, you know, puppets on a string from Russia or directly related to Russia that just kind of stir shit up to distract us down there because of the other control point.
For a long time. Yeah. Really effective because it predates the internet. This is a blackmail operation that predates the internet, that now with the internet, people put the pieces together. And
it's so much harder to put to, you know, to do a really good blackmail operation now that we've got Instagram, when people are like, I don't give a shit. Here's a picture of me doing it.
A lot harder to hide it. And I think that blackmail operation for a very long time was
Aaron, are you talking to me? Wow, you're such a Jew hater? Me or them? I'm just saying that's the case he's making. I'm trying to express that he thinks that there were, you know, that Mossad is behind all of this. Now, Epstein's ties to Mossad or whatever may or may not be there, but he's the kind of guy who would just kind of sell influence wherever he could and try and kind of leverage it, kind of like the paid confidential informants that go to the cops, but they go to a bunch of different groups and just try to get paid twice for the same piece of information. That kind of business.
And was very successful.
Mm-hmm. I think it still is.
Yeah.
look at what's going on.
Yeah,
nobody's talking.
Continues.
Nobody's getting arrested.
Yeah.
Gee, it's almost like Donald Trump is the prime suspect.
The only names that I'm aware of that have been unveiled, unredacted, is the victims, correct? They haven't revealed any abusers' names.
They did accidentally in a couple of them. Obviously, Trump is in there. Obviously, Les Wexner showed up on a couple of these. They definitely hid the women that were working with Epstein, by and large, but that didn't work out very well.
Have they? Am I wrong on that?
No, there's some that have forced this. Like, I think that Massey on the House floor insisted on revealing.
Ro Khanna did too.
One of the co-conspirators. There's a document where there were some co-conspirators who were listed that he came forward and said, here's one of them. I forget which one it was, maybe Les Wexner. But aside from that, there's not much that the U.S. has done. Now,
by the way, Les Wexner's been known for a long time, and because he signed over power of attorney to Epstein a long time ago.
In countries.
Yeah, Bannon and Dershowitz have been, you know, buddies of him. And of course, Nutlek came out. That was revealed through these files, but not in one of the co-conspirator list, but because as a, you know, a fellow traveler and a neighbor.
Have some real courage where they're investigating this and really putting some effort into the investigation.
See, I thought this because King Charles, right?
Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew.
Yeah, what's the difference?
Excuse me, Prince Andrew. But he's off the hook already, isn't he?
No, he lost his station. He's being investigated. He got arrested. They're actually having a trial. I'm saying we should take a page out of that book.
Oh, I don't know the latest status of his.
Yeah.
You got to.
One moment, please. Let's see. Let's go here. Yeah. Okay, here you go. We'll start with this one. Former Prince Andrew spotted with bruise covering half his face as mystery injury sparks questions. Everybody's saying he's got dementia now. And he was in a car. There you go. This part. And they're like, he's got dementia and he fell. I don't know. Maybe somebody just fucking took a poke at him. His own brother showed up, the king, and knocked him on his ass. But he's got, is this side of his face. And he's lost his station. There was this one in, here he is. Andrew, dementia fears heightened after ex-prince was spotted with massive bruise on his face. I don't know where the fuck what an excuse though. Epstein victim said she had dinner at Andrew's palace apartment. These are all relatively new. Last June 10th. Yeah, this is today. Prince William's monarchy has clock ticking for 2 royals, specifically Prince Andrew. Ex-Prince Andrew's daughters, Princess Eugenie and Princess Beatrice, reportedly have their clock ticking for when Prince William takes over the monarchy. The 2 princes have allegedly been preparing themselves to live without a major royal family perk in the future. The 2 sisters reportedly believe that their rent-free living in royal properties is very unlikely to continue when the Prince of Wales sits on the throne. I don't know why he would blame them, though. I can understand Andrew getting kicked to the curb, but why would it be his daughter's fucking fault? Are you going to victimize the... Not that I give a shit. You know what? They almost did it. I almost got suckered into this. I almost started pretending to give a fuck about royals. I'm an American. We fought a war, so I don't have to give a shit what happens to royals. No magic families. All right, back to here we go.
He got arrested.
Oh, he did?
For...
How do you not know? All right, this is going to annoy me. All right, and then let's look at... I think there's one last one. It's... No, maybe we went through all of them. Yep, we did. There were 4 whole videos. The dead man switch, the plan that he had, the escape plan, and then the pictures of him from above, whatever. So I'm glad this one's gaining ground because I think it's a great mental exercise, and ultimately, if he is hunting him down, and that whole story would look awesome. Wow, I got to tell you, Trump would look amazing if it turns out that Epstein escaped while he was president and has been living free this whole time while Trump's been going, what Epstein? Why are you still talking about this creep? He's dead. He doesn't even exist. Ugh, can you imagine? You want to talk about the thing that could blow the doors off of everything? That would be it. What a fun little exercise. All right. Now, a couple of things we got to jump into before I get too far behind on time. Okay. It's hard to choose. Oh my God. CSL, you do this to me all the time. Some of these videos are just fucking magnificent. I mean, honestly, look at this Eric Metaxas, ladies and gentlemen. Christians are ignoring the supernatural war around them. Wake up. Also UFO. That these aren't UFOs, they're demons, I think is the storyline. Yes? Let's find out.
Hey, folks, welcome to today's show. Yes, this is today's show. And I want to say that...
How would I know that?
In a minute, I'm talking to our friend Billy Hallowell. You know, he's been on the program many times. He's doing a program with CBN called Investigating the Supernatural. As you know, I'm kind of interested in that.
Kinda.
So I'm going to have that conversation with him in a couple of seconds. It's actually turns out to be important. Also want to remind you, our campaign with CSI is happening this week. We've extended it. We had some problems.
What are you trying to get a guest spot on CSI? Which one?
First week.
The original was canceled, and I think we all miss it. You can cancel it, or you can put us all out of our misery.
Which we fixed, and so we're a little bit behind. If you haven't participated yet, go to ericmetaxas.com.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
And
does anybody think that this is Benny Johnson from the future? Is it just me? Have we been watching Eric Metaxas playing a character called Benny Johnson using a filter? I mean, there's so many parallels. The faux Christianity, the voice, the bone structure, the face, the closet homosexual. No, okay, here we go.
Participate however you can. This is mandatory, okay?
And believe me, Eric Metaxas puts the man in mandatory. All right. Happy Pride, everybody. Don't be afraid. Look, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm sure he's in a hotel because he and the wife are having the house painted.
Okay, maybe not legally, but in my mind, it's mandatory. It's a beautiful thing. It's an opportunity to free slaves, literally. Literally. Don't misuse the word literally. This is, you say my mind was blown, literally. No, not literally. But you're freeing slaves literally if you go to ericmetaxas.com and participate. And actually
participate in what?
Part of today's show, I'll have.
Also, are we talking like slavery, like swing low, or are we talking like ball gag? It's okay. I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. Let's do this. You know what? I just realized I need a light show in here to go with that audio trigger now. It's not enough anymore. I mean, if we're going to live up to the standard that Pride sets, I got to put on a show. And I'm obviously not going to do glitter because I have cats. And they'll come in here and they'll lay on the ground and they'll track it all over the house. And, like all the ally communities that I've been a part of, we all know if glitter is anywhere, it's everywhere. I need a drop-down disco ball. That's so true, CSL. Holy shit. I'm working on it. It's going to happen. All right. Now, let's, can you just get on with it?
I'll have a short conversation with Todd Chapman, who is with CSI, and he can kind of explain more of the details of what it is that your money goes to. God bless you. God bless America. I'll be right back with Billy Hallowell. Kind of have a new to get for a few minutes at least, Todd Chapman on the program. He's a spokesperson for CSI, Christian Solidarity International.
Christian Solidarity?
Some of you know that we are right now doing a campaign.
Oh my God. Does that mean he has my number? Eric, pick up. Are you there? I'm calling for America. Oh, say, can you... Shit. All right. Okay. Oh, say, can you shit? Who can't? All right, here we go.
To free slaves.
Even that phone, like I appreciate, but that's... It looks like, you know what, and I only play that because I don't have the love theme from Love American Style. Love American Style. That looks like a phone from Love America Style, 1970s.
Literally. This is a big deal. I see it as a great opportunity.
Somebody says, Hal, you're a total American. How is your country doing now without royal intervention? Not so good, huh? No, we're doing just fine. And it's not like your country is doing any better in that regard. That's not the defining characteristic.
For people who believe in truth and justice.
Also, I just on the merits, I would rather fail believing in the unique and importance of every human being on the planet than magic families that get to wear fancy hats with baubles in them. That is very silly. Also, by the way, to the deeply religious on the planet, I know you're not going to like this, but God does not give a rat fuck what kind of hat you wear. I'm just saying. Not at all. And if your God cares what kind of hat you're wearing, they're not the God, they're a middle manager. I'm just saying, a God that created the known universe wouldn't give a rat's ass what kind of hat you wear. It's silly. Or he would just build it in.
to be able to act on those values. And Todd, we're just always grateful when you can come on and give us a little more explanation of what it is we're talking about.
Yeah, Eric, grateful to be back. And I got to tell you, this is, it's always a highlight of my schedule of my year when I get to come before you and your audience and give an update, first of all, as to the incredible difference that the Eric Metaxas audience is making in the lives of.
All right. Tell us about the aliens. Where the fuck is this? Freeing slaves in Sudan. Okay. Here it is. Are UFOs? Billy Hallowell joins. Are UFOs actually demonic? This is what, how we go. Now we do it. Let's do this part. Are UFOs actually demonic? Therefore, powered by, do they run on demons? Do they run on demon juice? We'll find out.
Yeah. Let's start there because right now.
Yeah, let's start there. On my question or his? Hold on.
That it's real, okay? Most people, but some don't, or some have they get weird about it. So
don't get weird.
What do we need to know? Where should we start? Should we start with the Spielberg thing that you mentioned to me off the air?
Yeah. Let's start there because right now I feel like this issue is getting a whole new renewed life because of the alien discussion, right? Like everybody's wondering, are aliens real? Are they not real? Has the government been lying for decades? And so
that's a totally new conversation. Never mind the entire series of Ancient Aliens, Resident Alien, which is fucking great. And if you have not watched it, you need to watch the entire thing all the way through. It is the only comedy that I have watched in years that had touching moments that brought me to tears. Alan and Sarah and everybody in the cast are such good performers that they can be hilariously silly, and yet there are moments in it that are just straight up tear jerkers. And the time where he's learning that he has what human emotions mean, and where Asta doesn't want to be his friend anymore and she's leaving and he feels hurt for the first time, is so beautifully done. I mean, I know they're never going to get an Emmy. I mean, I don't really watch the Emmys. Maybe they won. Who cares? But they deserve awards for that. They're not going to get them because it'll be viewed as sci-fi and silly. But amazing work done on the show. Period. End of story. So the idea that Disclosure Day is the reason everybody's talking about this is just fucking dumb.
We're having this alien conversation, and it's opening up all sorts of debates within the church, outside of the church, and secular.
Yes, like, what is it about what's going on outside your hotel or where you are that you don't want people to know that you have lowered the, I don't know, is that a double curtain?
Culture.
Like a blackout curtain all the way to the floor? What the hell is happening?
You know, what happens if aliens are real? What does that do to people's faith? And so you have, Steven Spielberg and others.
Nothing.
They're sort of asking this question, if you find out overnight that the government's been lying, go ahead.
But I have to just interrupt in the beginning to explain to my audience, ladies and gentlemen, I find these discussions, at least at first, unbelievably annoying because.
Yeah, that's because you're petty and small as a human being.
Because they're kind of gaslighting and confusing. Let me just lay down the law. Okay, here's the law.
All right, you tell us what we're supposed to believe, and if anybody doesn't and it causes any confusion when it happens, that's because they don't have the faith of Eric Metaxas' ass.
There are no aliens from other galaxies. Our whole lives, we've been told, of course there are. It would be arrogant to think that only human beings, blah, 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 blah. Total garbage, okay?
All right. Mathematically, it's impossible.
If you haven't read my book, Is Atheism Dead?
If I haven't heard your book? Okay, so you didn't write a book, you did a book on tape?
Or the first chapters of my Miracles book. The odds that there should be life anywhere in the universe are zero unless God created it. I don't know.
Right, but just because it's not in your book doesn't mean it's. I mean, again, Eric, everybody's entitled to their own unique mistake, dum-dum.
Time to get into that now, but this lie that.
Yeah, this is the same argument you get from people like, look, there are no dinosaurs in the Bible, therefore these bones were planted by atheists and Jews working together. Like, that's what they believe. They're made up. They're cardboard, fake giant bones.
That life just pops up and it's popping up. It popped up here and it popped up. Total garbage.
Yeah, shut up.
But of course,
I'm beginning to. I think this is old Benny Johnson from the future.
if you've been told that for like 70 years that there are people from outer space coming, then when
Well, I don't know about people.
something like this happens, you immediately go, well, obviously, that's obviously what it is. That's
Obviously, which is so arrogant to go, obviously, even though that's, I think, the word that Tucker Carlson uses more than any other.
obviously not what it is. So we can discuss what it
Yeah, obviously it is, but obviously it clearly isn't, obviously.
is, what it's not. But the main thing to know is it's not aliens from other galaxies. If anything, and I just have to say this up front, Billy, so forgive me, but
This is going to be really dumb. I can just feel it. This is going to, I almost feel like I owe the audience an apology at this point. This is going to, okay, here it comes. These are not aliens from outer space. They are demons from Earth.
I just want to say up front, ladies and gentlemen, this is almost certainly demonic. It's
almost certainly
a deception to confuse people. And that bothers me. So I feel like I have to get out front of it. But
well, yeah, this is exactly what, this is what we thought. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
okay, Billy, I just had to say my piece. Go ahead.
I love that you said your piece, because I think what's happening here is what you just
When do I get to say my piece?
said. You have a situation where you now have all these people wondering, well, are there aliens? Are there not? Let me say this, and let me get this out of the way. I agree 100%. I think it's demonic, and we can talk about that more.
So what if they think they're demons, but wait for it, they're Hindu demons. So the Abrahamic God, follow me on this. I know you feel like what I'm saying is follow me on this. No. So they're Hindu demons, but God created demons from other religions to keep you from following them. Huh? I thought that up all by myself. And yeah. I'm fine.
If there was some chance, and I do not believe this at all, I think it's nonsense, that aliens existed, okay? This idea that there would
at least be pencil drawings of them in the old Bible.
Would rock everybody's faith and people would have to turn away from Christianity is nonsense, because here's the thing, the Bible...
Yeah, but Eric Metaxas believes that.
The Bible is very clear. Jesus came and died and rose again for mankind, right? Angels, for instance, have free will. The Bible indicates that they have free will. Some of them...
Yes, some of them fucked humans, and AKA Neanderthals, AKA they were aliens who mixed their genetic code with the primates on the planet and created us and went, oh shit, they're a functioning being, and now the Galactic Council is making us, support them and keep them alive because we made a conscious being and we're responsible for it. And the same thing we're going to find out about AI when we have to baptize your computer so that it can go to heaven, and then it fritzes out and you've committed a murder. Sorry, I'm digging, as deep in on this as I can.
Them fell. They chose otherwise. He didn't come to die for the angels. So there's not some conflict like, oh, well, how did Jesus die for the aliens then? So I think that's nonsense too. But having said that,
maybe they didn't need it. Maybe they're all, advanced, or maybe they have their own guy. And maybe, maybe they're effectively like cuttlefish or turtles. They live a long time, or they're basically immortal, like deep sea lobsters or something like that. And so they don't need somebody to come back from the dead. Their savior just dies and stays that way. It's a whole different mythology.
Pushing all that to the side, and that's a deeper theological conversation.
I'll have it. Let's do it.
What this alien conversation does is it deviates our attention from what matters most, from the truth, right? People aren't...
Stop masturbating. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Talking about the spiritual realm. They're talking about aliens. And the reality is people are seeing things.
Yeah, that's why I hated Jacques Cousteau. He took everybody's mind off of reading the Bible, and he started asking, what is this weird fish doing in the water?
And even if 99% of what is being seen, right, these UAPs, these UFOs, these claims of alien encounters, which there are a lot of them, abductions, all of that, if they're seeing that, well, a lot of the time it can be explained by science or technology or whatever, but let's say 1%.
Which is also demonic. So, yeah.
Percent of it is real, that they're seeing something they can't explain. They're seeing the spiritual realm. It is pouring over, and that is what is happening. And so we don't want to get caught in
Or no. If somebody discovers a new bird, it's not like they forced an angel into to transition from the metaphysical realm to the physical realm. Holy shit. Like, I don't even know how.
in that deception of not understanding that we actually have a spiritual realm that exists. Ephesians 6 tells us this. The entire Bible tells us this. And the one thing I'll say, and you jump in here, the biggest danger I see in the church right now is this denial of miracles, this denial of the supernatural, this idea that none of
this Jeffersonian bullshit,
this stuff is happening. That to me, and maybe that's a strong statement, I know, is the most dangerous thing happening right now inside.
Well, no, of
parts
course
the
it
church.
is, because I mean, listen, it's just a funny thing. When I had my born again experience, at age 25.
Wow. I was born again when I was 11.
I realized God is real, the Bible is true, and I was excited about the supernatural aspect of it. Like, wow, God is real. If I pray to him, he hears me, and he
interrupts everything that he has planned for millennia, apparently, to tweak things on my behalf.
He can do stuff. He can heal people, and he can...
And sometimes he just doesn't. What a jerk.
Prayer works, and there's this whole world that opens up. Now, do people abuse that? Of course they do.
Yeah. They pray for, Benny Johnson to look into the ark and age precipitously, and then, oh shit.
Do people misunderstand that? Of course they do. And so it's our job not to just...
Right, but not you, obviously.
Reject it, but to say...
Also, can I just say for the record, let me take a moment, if I will, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. I would like to say to the faithful and the people without faith watching this, that when I mock what is being said in a video like this, or in videos like Flashpoint, which is where Eric Metaxas also does a show, I want to point out that I am not mocking the belief systems that they are associated with. I actually am mocking their bullshitting around it. I don't think they actually believe. I am calling them out for lying and being hypocrites, not because the root mythology or the belief system or the religion or the lack of religion in people's beliefs. Again, I don't think that a lot of the passive eugenics Darwinists like Elon Musk, who believe that there should only be a few elite human beings and everybody else should die, I don't actually believe that motherfucker thinks he's a superior human being when he looks in the mirror and hears his own thoughts. I don't buy it. I think he just thinks, I'm rich, therefore I should survive. I don't think it's based on any depth of belief, right? Same thing here. So I actually don't think Eric Metaxas believes what he's saying. I think he's selling this shit. So I'm not mocking Christians. I think he is. And this other fuckwad. And if your God isn't big enough to absorb all life in the universe, then it's not God. It would be, you are worshiping a demon in that theology. It is a devil that has convinced you it is God and is controlling you on a lower level. God is in everything or it is in nothing. That's how it works. And if your system only fits this much stuff, then it is clearly a demonic iteration of a false prophecy. Sorry.
Say, okay, how does God want us to perceive the supernatural? What does he say? What does the scripture say? And of course, there's some debate, but I think there's no...
Yeah, but it's stupid.
No debate among serious Christians.
Yeah. That should tell you everything you need to know. I know there's some debate, but there's no debate amongst serious Christians. So this motherfucker believes he is the arbiter. He is the judge, not lest ye be. He's the judge of what it means to be a serious Christian. And that if any Christian tries to absorb the concept of greater life in the universe, that there is something bigger even than the scriptures, or that the scriptures themselves are not to be taken literally, but they are allegorical to our experience on earth, and that they can expand and contract with the reader, then that person is not a serious Christian, according to this fuckwad.
That there's a supernatural realm. Now, if you're a very sophisticated Christian,
Yeah. and wearing a tie like you're a robber baron in a fucking Laurel and Hardy short.
maybe that makes you uncomfortable with your sophisticated idiot materialist friends, that you're afraid they're going to think you're nuts. Well, then you're just like a coward, or you're easily intellectually intimidated by your secular friends.
This is so Jesus-y.
Because this is just real. It would be
What a dipshit.
no different than if somebody said,
This is gross. This is fucking gross. This is it's part of it's sad. I mean, there's a pitiable aspect to this shit. And by the way, subscribe to my channel, because I think I'm just like 500 subscribers short of his channel, and he's got a regular spot on Flashpoint whenever he wants it, which has millions of subscribers. So if I'm nipping at the butt of this 91K here, which I believe I am, I'm going to take great pride when we overtake this dickhead. I believe in Jesus, and I also believe that Trump's an asshole. See, it can be done. Exactly, Jim. And to genuine Christians, not the fake Christians that I put in the same category. I put him in the same category as progressives, the fake progressives like Cenk and Anna, who are, using the language of this, right? They know all the jargon, they know all the terminology, but when it comes down to it, they're fucking terrible. I'm at 90.8. Excellent. All right. We're close. We got a couple hundred more subscribers and we'll be there. This is the same thing. It's the same hypocrisy. It's just what our beloved brothers in King's X would call pious mud.
somebody says, like, you believe in atoms? Like, you can't even see atoms. Has anyone ever seen an atom? I don't think so. You ever seen an electron? I don't think so. Like, what are you talking about? There are things we can't see, but we can infer their existence.
Okay, you can actually see the impact of an atom, for example. Its existence leaves a mark. You can see the scar left behind in the same way that you can find evidence of a murder without a body being there. Right? You can see pieces of organ nailed to the floor with a knife. The body's gone, but there's blood in an outline of a person. There's drag marks all the way out to where a car was. Clearly someone killed somebody here and drove away. We can test it to make sure the blood's there. We can't see that the body and the murder happened, but we know it did because of all the other evidence. The same thing is true of an atom. If you fire it at something, you can sense where it was. And unlike angels, which is you have to use a feeling mechanism, I guess. And I'm not against that. I actually think if I were to create, all right, let's jump into this if we can. If I was going to create a simulation to grow new humans, let's say in the future, which is actually now, it's the year 3655. And we have figured out how to live basically forever. We've immortalized the human body. People can still have biological children, and they choose to because it's an important aspect of our humanity. Nobody dies from it anymore, but we choose to be as human as we possibly can with all the augmentations and additives we have that keep us alive and allow us to travel through space and do all kinds of stuff. But in the future, where you live to be 3,000 to 5,000 years old, when you have a new child, you still mature the same way. And so to get a child mature enough to operate in a world that is run by people who have been alive for thousands of years, you would want that person to experience a lot before you release them into the world. You would want them to be as smart and empathetic and wise as they could possibly be. And any person under 100 years old who just organically lives their life is going to be kind of a dumbass. Okay? So what do? Here's my thing. And I've explained this before, but this is the plan. If you had a simulation for humans to live in, as it were, they call it an ancestor simulation when they talk about this. What would you use it for? Just to trap people? It's fucking dumb. Why bother? Why bother trapping them? Why don't you just get rid of them? Who cares? If they're artificial consciousness and you made them anyways, unplug the fucking thing. Why bother? Unless they have some value, right? Okay. But But let's say you had children and you wanted them to be wise beyond their years. You would put them in a school where in the first few years, until they got to be about teenage level, you would have them operating around you and enjoy your time with your children. But when it came time for them to go off to school, the days or hours they would spend in school, they would go into a simulation chamber and basically go into a hypnotic state with a little kind of thing attached to whatever their chip implant or their bioelectric implant that they were actually born with, because we'd find a way to pass it on through our regular reproductive process in the future instead of having something installed like fucking surgery. That they go into school and then, or they just sit in a thing that projects it onto your brain. You don't actually have to have anything done. And you live, instead of taking a math class, you live a life as a mathematician. And instead of taking a music class, you live an entire life in simulation as a musician. And so not only do you wake up knowing how to play an instrument after, a couple of hours in this, but, however long the process takes, but you've experienced not just the learning process of learning the instrument and the muscle memory that goes with it and all that kind of stuff that's now translated into your physical body. You would also have all the other experiences, the broken heart and the illness and the exciting times and the trips to the fucking park and the walking your dog and the cleaning your room and doing all that stuff would make you wiser and more sympathetic. And then there would be lives where you were a victim of something, and then a life where you were a perpetrator and felt guilty about it. And you would go through that whole prospect. And after 10,000 lives, as the Buddhists put it, which would take you about, high school and college, by the time you're 40, like Total Recall, by the time you're 40 or so, you would experience war in a virtual sense and understand how awful it is. By the time you're that age, you'd gone through all this stuff. You could walk out into the world, the new world we all live in, and be peaceful and not crazy and self-serving and all that shit, because you'd worked all that shit out a long time ago. Okay? So if I were to create a simulation, it would have the same purpose behind it as all entertainment, like movies or TV shows or video games. Entertainment and education. You learn something, whether it's eye-hand coordination or you understanding another human being, and the entertainment part of it. That's what it's for. And a simulation is just a higher level version of that. We're almost there now. It would not be surprising if we reached a certain point, like, hey, you reached it and now you can get out. Now you don't need to be in there anymore. But it would explain why you go through terrible things in life, why terrible things happen, because you would have sympathy if you survived it, came out on, you're alive physically. I'm not talking even a spiritual realm outside this world. I'm talking about it's like the Matrix. You pull a tube out of the back of your head and you're like, oh shit, I'm actually alive in this world. But it's nice. It's better. And the reason you're put into the Matrix-y thing, the simulation, is so that you can learn to be a better person before we set you out into the world, right? Into the real world, where you become part of greater humanity. In the interim, some people come in very young and they need a guide. They would need a babysitter, effectively. And that's where the deeply religious come in. These are people who have a little mental guide that's always with them that keeps them behaving like they should until they learn the basics. Right? So if I was creating that simulation, that's what I would do with it. Now, I think that's very wise and smart, and I have a hard time believing that if I could live to be 1,000 years old plus, that I wouldn't work towards creating that system for both education and entertainment. Sometimes you just do it. You'd go live a life. You'd spend 2 hours living an entire life of 80 years just for like you were watching a movie. Right? What a great experience. Thank you. CSL, yeah, it's there. It's the tickling thing. You did 3 hours in the morning. Yeah, I know. I'm almost at 2 hours. I'll get back to this. But the point I'm trying to make is that, let's say somebody runs the simulation. They're in charge of your school, where this group of kids that you're a part of lives in there. And part of the people we interact with are NPCs. They're non-player characters. They're just here to fill out stuff. There are guides that are with us that look like the same person, whether they're the different race or a different sex, and we meet them over the course of our life because they're literally here to just make sure to tap us in the right direction because we're on a lesson plan and they're trying to help us keep to it. Sometimes you're here just for free play. You're not doing any missions. You're just experiencing life and you grow with whatever happens. So everything's a little bit chaotic, but you grow anyways in those situations. And then when you pop out of it, you're more the wiser. Right? All right. Now, yes, somebody could live the Epstein experience both ways, as the victim and as the perpetrator. And hopefully, after going through that a few times, they would go, this sucks. I need to be good to people because I know what it feels like to be victimized hurt by this and to hurt people by this. And hopefully you'll come. And now, again, if you just learn to like it over time, maybe they do trap you in here and you just become an NPC meant to teach the victimizing lesson. Maybe that's a thing. It seems like it would work. Also, atheists, by the way, I think by and large, you could either be at a certain cycle where you're about to wake up and realize that it's not God that's outside this thing, it's a material reality. And so you're waking up to that, or you're actually NPCs. And the reason you think you don't die after, like nothing happens after you die is because nothing does happen after you die. You just de-res and recharacter and come back as something else, and you don't have any memory because you're just a bot. And there's no shame in that, right? And the living people that are in here learning would have to, they're still going to be judged on how they treat you, even if you're fake. Anyways, I would like to remind you that I have never smoked pot. I've never done drugs in my entire life. And so all these thoughts, this is something I germinate on that started with the Tao of Physics and Illusions by Richard Bach. And, the sci-fi stuff that I like. And then this idea of, there are a few different Matrix-y kind of movies. It wasn't the first of that idea, but yeah. You want to be buried? It won't matter. You don't want to be buried because if you're buried, you're still alive. What you mean is you want your body buried. I think, right? I should? No interest. Knock yourself out. It's none of my business. Like I said, I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum, but I'm not going to do it. How pot doesn't make you see space aliens? Apparently, you're not doing it right. Sorry. Well, it certainly wouldn't save you from seeing them if you did see them, and you would not see them if you were predisposed to seeing them without it. All right. Anyways, here we go. Back to this dipshit for a moment.
That's how we infer the periodic table. And and the fact of the matter is that there's a lot that we don't know, we don't understand. So we try to process it logically. And
yes. Now, try to process the Old Testament logically as a Christian.
The same goes for the scripture. We try to understand it logically.
No, you don't.
What is it saying clearly? What is it saying that's not so clear? And we have
logically. What is it saying that's illogical?
We have to think it through, or we have to see if there more information that can help me understand. And but we are logical. We're clear-minded about it. And
no, you're not.
I think to simply dismiss the world of the supernatural is just so preposterous that I mock people at this point. It's like saying,
right, which is the least. The second to least Jesus-y thing you do. Also, how's that any different than mocking somebody for believing in aliens?
I don't know if the Earth is flat. Like, where there are different opinions on this.
Oh yeah. By the way, I also read the Zecharia Sitchin's stuff too. And like the 12th Planet and all those books, and part of this all ties into that, I think.
Well, that's nice, but I'm not going to take seriously somebody who thinks the Earth is flat. And if you're one of those people, tough luck. So this idea that there's nothing supernatural, that it all has to be materialistic, and
the Christian world believed it to be flat for a very long time. So did, by the way, all the religious beliefs. Like they either believed it was flat actively, or they didn't give a shit.
Therefore, if there are things that look like aliens, they've got to be creatures from another. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just preposterous. And I'm also, it's kind of fun.
Oh, sorry. If they look like aliens, they're alien to you. And the idea is that if you see a gray alien, what you're really seeing is a living, material, physical demon. That's the version that isn't absurd, according to him.
Kind of funny, because I wrote a book on miracles. I would ask people, have you ever had an experience with a miracle? Some people would tell me these extraordinary stories. Other people would kind of get uncomfortable and say, yeah, I don't like to talk about it. And I would say, why? They were sort of ashamed. They were afraid people would make fun of them. And I thought, you've got to be kidding me. Like, you are so thin-skinned or intellectually nervous that people are going to make fun of you.
Fuck. Hold on. Eric Metaxas is a judgmental prick. He shits on Christians, Jews, and Muslims more than I ever could. Oh, why in the world? Why would you be a dick to people like that? Yes, the firmament is indeed pagan in origin. Well, again, a lot of that's adapted European stuff because a lot of our, certainly a lot of the Christian holidays, don't get me started on the Festival of Ishtar being Easter and it basically being a fertility holiday. That's what all the eggs and bunnies and chocolate are about. But what a dipshit. And just fucking like, if people are having a hard time expressing what they felt was a miracle in their life, why'd you go like, you suck at Christianity? What an asshole. All right. Speaking of people who suck at Christianity, hold on. I have to show you this one real quick. So you guys remember JP, the guy who used to make like videos about, mocking, I guess, Harris and Biden as being stupid and Trump, he was big Trump supporter. And we've seen him a couple times lately where he's, I think, joined the Candace Owens crowd and is all of a sudden in a very awkward position. Okay, you'll recognize this guy, right? Read that title. Meet Jared Kushner, the new Jeffrey Epstein. Wow. Tell me more. Huge Trump supporter.
Do you know who Jared Kushner really is?
Yes.
People are calling him the new Jeffrey Epstein for a reason. Now, there's a lot about Jared Kushner you probably don't know and that he doesn't want you to know. But we're going to spill the beans tonight. Here's just a quick preview rundown of his resume. He's currently making waves for the new private island he wants to develop in Albania that has Albania revolting and a fraud investigation opened up on. Kushner also has a major role.
At one point, I think he gets to, and you might not know this, but he's married to the president's daughter.
In the Trump administration, on behalf of the U.S. government, he negotiates with the Middle East governments that his firm also takes major investments from.
Yeah, we know. This has been true for a long fucking time. It was true in the last term, you tit.
Kushner.
What the fuck is this guy? All right. How did you not know this fucking 6-7 years ago? He was actively in the White House, you asshole. Would you think he was going to be less involved this time? Christ.
Kushner's also been the central negotiator in the Iran war and on ceasefires and peace deals, which have all fallen through because he's a good negotiator. He's got Epstein connection.
It doesn't matter whether he's a good negotiator or not. Donald Trump is the one signing off on or blowing up the deal. Who gives a shit? I mean, Witkoff and Kushner are both scumbags, but it doesn't matter.
Actions. And if you love what the government of Israel is doing, then you can thank Jared Kushner for it because he's helping them do more than anybody else. And Kushner.
Oh, no. Trump is helping a lot more.
His father committed what the former U.S. attorney for New Jersey called one of the most loathsome, disgusting crimes he had ever handled.
Yeah, and that's when Donald Trump went, wow, I hope that guy marries Ivanka.
Jared Kushner currently shapes foreign policy in the Middle East more than anybody else, even more than President Trump.
Nope.
So while Jared Kushner might not want you to know much about him, probably because he's just humble, I thought tonight we'll help you get to know him better, much better, in our special Meet Jared Kushner report, starting with his very popular Private Island project. Kushner's wife, Ivanka, who happens to be President Trump's daughter.
God damn. Like, this guy is one of the king shit maggot media dudes. Has been for a long time. This dude made his bones for the better part of the last decade. Why is JP on screen? That's a good question. As one of Trump's biggest defenders online, so much so that apparently either thinks it's sarcastic or important to let people know that Jared Kushner is now a scumbag or always was or whatever. Now that that's the side the fucking bread the butter is on, but also like that it's news to his audience. How do you keep your crowd that misinformed? It's like when we were watching Tucker Carlson the other day, and he heard about the second Trump assassination. The guy was firing through the bushes, and the guy missed, and he ran away, and his car was cut. And Tucker's like, "What? How is that possible? What? Like, how do you not know these details? They were all over the fucking news, and it's your fucking job. It's the key thing you pay attention to for a living."
Recently let the cat out of the bag on a private island that her and Kushner bought in the Mediterranean. And they're going to be developing it. But before we get to what you're not supposed to know about the island, there's
the tunnel system.
A lot. You have to appreciate how in touch with the little people of the world.
Now that Trump makes wars, Kushner bad. Yeah, you're pretty true. Yeah, it's pretty true, Bruce Baker.
World that Ivanka is. Hey, I think everybody wants us elites to have another one of those private island things. I know.
Hey, man. No, you don't get to be cute about this, asshole. Fuck you. You don't get to joke about this. You supported Donald Trump, who was Jeffrey Epstein's fucking wingman. He never had to go to the island because Epstein brought it to him. Secondly, Donald Trump has a resort in St. Thomas, which is where all these elites flew to so they could take a boat or a helicopter over to Little St. James. It was the way station. And interestingly enough, there is no record of Trump going to his property in St. Thomas. That doesn't seem weird to you? Do you actually believe he never went? Or do you think he hid it because he didn't want people to know he was going to the island? Because he knew that's what people did. They would fly to his resort, stay there, and take a fucking boat or a helicopter over there. The helicopter was flown by Ghislaine her fucking self. So no, you don't get to be cute about this. You owe Biden and Hunter and everybody, like all the Democrats you call Democrats, a fucking apology. Stop talking about elites like they're some rando group. It's Trump and his kids and his buddies. I'm so sick of this shit. No, you guys don't get to have your great awakening where, oh my God, I don't think Trump is one of the good guys, without apologizing to all the people you demonized. Fuck you. And the idea that this asshole didn't know that Trump was Jeffrey Epstein's wingman, that they were running buddies all during the 90s and the early 2000s, that they only stopped being friends for about 6 weeks over a fucking land deal, over a piece of property that they both intended to sell to the same Russian oligarch who was going to bulldoze it. They didn't even want it. They already had a buyer on the line. Fuck you. I'm so sick of this shit. All these guys are like, wow, Trump's like one of the elites and operating as part of the Epstein class. Like, yeah, we know. That's what we've been saying. We've been trying to tell you assholes for over a decade. You don't think he was the host of The Apprentice because he was busy making actual deals, do you? Sorry, do you also think that Bret Michaels and Flava Flav were actually looking for love on their shows? Do you think the Kardashians want to show you just how laid back their lifestyle really is and not the fact that it's some sort of manufactured product placement ad that they all live in all the time? It's a farce. It's like Survivor. You can't call a show Survivor unless everybody except one person dies. Even the people on Naked and Afraid are neither. They're blurred out, wearing loincloths, and none of them look scared. They look itchy. This is so fucking dumb. So fuck you. No, you don't have to go, hey, they're going to buy one of these islands for themselves. Like, when you actively spent the last decade covering for Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and all of his elite buddies and all the people who are paying for his campaign and Kushner's dad and that like arranged marriage between their two real estate empires. I'm just so fucking tired of it. I'm so annoyed at these assholes because they think they're so goddamn cute. It's like Tucker and his fucking laugh.
I'll proudly announce it so everyone can be happy about it. Great. Here's what Kushner and his super in tune wife didn't tell you. They discover the island while on board Nat Rothschild's yacht. Yep, same Rothschilds who had Epstein as their main guy.
Who? Yeah, and also who a woman's Ilya Yashishin, the fucking Russian agent, snuck into Mar-a-Lago. She was able to walk right in through the gate because she pretended to be a Rothschild. She had ID that said she was Anna de Rothschild. And that was enough for Trump to go, oh, fuck, let her in. She got pictures of, fuck, hold on. Jesus. And it was Giuliani too, right? Yeah, here you go. No, here's a picture. Is the Pittsburgh Gazette? It's fucking her and Lindsey Graham. Wait, I don't want. I just want the picture. You stupid. Hold on. Think. Just want it. Yeah, here you go. Open image, a new tab. There we go. I'll show you. Open. Why is this not? Okay, there you go. Open image, new tab. There we go. And we open in here. There we go. Now scroll it up. There you go. So this woman. This is this woman's name is Anna Yashishin. That's her real name. She went by Anna de Rothschild. She managed to get into Mar-a-Lago and hang out with Trump and fucking Lindsey Graham. She went golfing with these motherfuckers under a fake name. And the fake name? De Rothschild. She's not even a real Rothschild. He was so enamored by the fucking name Rothschild, she was like, oh shit, the Rothschilds are here. They let her in. She's not a member. She was never a member of Mar-a-Lago. For fuck's sake. So just hold on one second. I'm still on the air. I'll be done in just a moment. I'll get right back. Okay, you're awesome. My friend Brian's calling me. It's lovely. Anyways, so fuck you, dude, and you're like, oh my God, the Rothschilds. Do you think I covered this at the time? You guys remember that? Chat room. You guys remember when I covered this Anna Yashishin idiot at the time? You guys remember? I'll wait because it takes a moment for the chat to catch up. Maggots. Any maggots in the audience? Remember this story? Or did you miss it? Because the assholes you were following hid it from you. Okay, yeah, there we go. I remember. There you go. There's a bunch of people remembering when I covered it. All right. I covered Anna Yashishin and the Rothschilds bullshit, and Trump just fucking couldn't wait to let this bitch walk around on Mar-a-Lago property and rub elbows just because of her last fucking name. And it was fucking fake, you dumbasses. And he's golfing with Lindsey fucking Graham. All you like, I had no idea he was going to be such a warmonger and start siding with Lindsey Graham. This is the last term, shithead. How fucking stupid are you? So the idea that like this guy's like the Rothschilds, like that should have been your first clue. This dude spent that entire time not covering how Donald Trump let a fake Rothschild onto his property just because he wanted to suck up to them while he was having golf, like a golf outing with Lindsey fucking Graham. who apparently you guys have like you believed his whole no new wars thing while he was golfing with Lindsey fucking Graham. Yes, I covered it during COVID.
This email. And the Albanian island has 3,600 Cold War nuclear bunkers and miles of underground tunnels. They must have had the same architect as Epstein Island. And after it was discovered, the deal for the island was also brokered with the Albanian Prime Minister on board the Rothschilds' yacht yet again, and financed by Middle East money. Moving this along, once Ivana proudly announced the elite island plan, the people of Albania revolted and protest. They don't like it. You see, these little people, they were
Fuck this dude. All right, I'm gonna let you guys go because it's 10 after. But maggots, I gave you some trolling advice in the beginning, and I'm also going to give you some genuine advice now. All these people are suddenly waking up to the fact that Trump is a liar and a con man and stuff, and are acting surprised by it. They're idiots, and if they're not idiots, they've been lying to you for years. They are using you. These are your only two options. They're either, manipulating you for clicks and views and commercial bait and all that kind of stuff, or they're too stupid to listen to. There is no other version of this reality. This coin has two sides, and you flip it, it's going to be one. Either they're too stupid to listen to and they didn't see this coming when the rest of us fucking did, or they've been lying to you this whole time. They knew he was a fraud, and they knew that you suckers would buy whatever ad shit they ran to support Trump by buying prepper food and fucking Zen patches or whatever the fuck gold or whatever you guys sold. That's it. They are either liars or too stupid to follow. This is the world you are in. And they don't give a shit. They don't care. They'll flip over and start making money off you with the new shit. If that's the way the tide is turned, they'll turn right with it. That's what Candace is doing. That's what Fuentes is doing. That's what this guy's doing. Soon as it's no longer economically feasible to follow Trump down a fucking rabbit hole of increasing inflation and bad choices, just flip the script and sell the other direction. So it's up to you at this point, maggots. You can, get woke or be
Dumb, 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 dumb. Dumb, dumb, stupid. Dumb, silly, stupid, dumb, dumb.
All right, I'm going to go feed my kid. I appreciate you guys. I will see you tomorrow for the afternoon show. Friday morning show is going to start an hour later. To start at 10 my time because of flight situation. I'm trying to get in earlier than the flight that was available, but it's not easy right now and very expensive. And I'm fairly certain that my travel will eat up anything I'm going to make from the Nerd Halen gig already. So changing the flight and trying to get one earlier, they just weren't available. So anyways, I'm going to be getting to my hotel as fast as I can, and setting up and doing all that kind of stuff. So there's a little drag. It'll be me and Rob, and we'll be talking about those kind of things. And there won't be an afternoon show Friday. There will be one tomorrow, but it will be at 3:00 because during the summer, when my kid's with me, we shuffle around the time because of the East Coast, West Coast time thing. So when Cam's here, we're going to do the Thursday show earlier. So it'll be at the normal time with all the rest of the shows. So there you go. And then what else? Next week, we have a flight. We're flying on Wednesday next week. That's the only thing that will be different. Because my dad's service is on Thursday, the 18th. And we're going to probably stay at Friendship Friday as well. So, and I might stream part of my dad's service at Friendship just so you guys can see what it's like, but it'll be different than the regular show. It'll just be a live camera feed of what's going on. So just letting you guys know. And then we still have a funeral service, a full funeral service. We're waiting for his stone to be done. That's leading up to that. And the other day, and I'm not going to ask you to boo me, but I was doing laundry, and I found this shirt, and I washed it. I'd been in my luggage and some other stuff, and had been behind on laundry in a couple places. You have I think, and this is from the La Brea Tar Pits. And Cam, I've been taking my son to the La Brea Tar Pits his whole life because it was one of our favorite places to go as a son, as a father-son outing. And we'd run around in it. He just loved it. They have a saber, an actor in a saber-toothed tiger, which is really a saber-toothed cat. But anyways, they have an actor that's in one of these suits, and it's really fun to watch. And we would go there. We've gone there forever. Anyway, so whenever I'm there, I'll pick up another La Brea Tar Pits shirt because they're meaningful to me, right? They're just, these are times when I'm there with Cam, with my son, and it's a good way to remember those moments because you put it on anytime. You're like, it's like a walking memory. It's like carrying around like seeing a picture pop up on your phone or something, but in that way. Anyway, so I have a blue one that I wear sometimes. You'll see that the La Brea Tar Pits, and they don't make it anymore. And so I stopped wearing it as much because I don't want to wear it out. This is the shirt I was wearing when my dad passed. My dad died. I had this shirt that was that I'd gotten when Cam and I were at the La Brea Tar Pits together. And so I had slept in it the night before. I was up all night kind of taking care of Dad, and then he passed that day and I was still wearing it. And I hadn't seen it in my packed bags since then. So if you see that shirt next week at Friendship, when I'm when I post pictures and stuff, you'll know. Just throwing that out there. So, and in that, call somebody you haven't talked to in a while and tell them you love them. Every time you talk to a family member when you're hanging up or you're leaving the house, tell them you love them. And the rest of the time when you're not saying it, show it. And this is a song I wrote for my dad. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. Hold on, I realized that was the version without lyrics. I think you guys deserve the lyric version. Give me 1 second. Just to hang out for a second. And hit the like, share the show as you would. Let's see, it's in here it is. Bring it up. It's gonna take a moment. We shall see what we shall see, what we shall see. Nope, wrong song. Quit it. You're not supposed to play that one. I'll play the grunge version.
drifting in the wonder why. I wanna be your inspiration. Take my time, if you please. Just don't spend it on your knees. Bury me like treasure. Bury me like treasure. It's been a pleasure. I'll be watching you.